A lot of people always ask me about my flash settings. So I've been shooting nightlife photography for about 3 years now. When I started, all my pictures were dark. I didn't really know how to use a flash. I didn't really know how to use, I kind of knew my way around the camera for sure at night, but it wasn't a thing that I would do. And I figured, just put the flash and that was it. But it's totally not that. I think it's an art of its own. I think you have to really practice and you have to do it a lot of times, and it's a lot of trial and error. It certainly took me a long time to even get to this level and to even get to these colors. So what we're looking at right now is a JPEG straight from the camera. So what I do is I work in nightclubs, and then my job is literally to shoot some of the girls and then give them pictures as soon as possible. And what I do is I shoot JPEG with a color profile of my own, and then I just use a little SD to USB-C adapter, and then I just give them the pictures right there. Usually at the end of the night or throughout the night, depending on how busy I am. So I had to come up with a way to make sure that I gave them the best image possible on the moment. So today we're just gonna talk about my flash settings. I'm not gonna talk about what I actually do and what I do with the flash, and maybe my angle choices or my theory on how I should shoot it, or my method of shooting, whatever you want to call it. We're just gonna go over my settings because a lot of people always ask me what are my settings. All right, so let's start with this picture. Let's just talk about it. I like to shoot. Okay, so depending on what I'm trying to do, that's what I set my settings at. So there's no correct way. There's no one setting and then you're fine. Like you have to play around also, because not every location that you shoot in, it's gonna look the same. So maybe my settings right here won't work in a different setting. It's gonna look totally different. And then you also have to, on my case, I tend to, okay, so my job is to give the pictures to the girls so they can post them, right? So they have to like the picture. I can't just go and shoot whatever I want. Like, they have to like it. So if they don't like what I'm shooting, they're not gonna post it, and then, I don't do my job. So in this case, I have learned to come to like some sort of middle ground in how much background the girl wants to see, or whatever. Why? Because on their social media feeds, maybe this background, it looks too busy, so maybe they want it darker. So some girls will like this and some girls will think it's too busy, so then I would usually make it a little darker. But in this case, I chose this image because I actually have it without the flash. Here you can see that it's my what I'm exposing for the ambient, and then you can see that you can see it without the flash. All right, so let's talk about my ambient settings. So I have 1000 ISO, and I have 1/80th of a second, and I'm wide open. So on this lens, I can be at 2.8. So why ISO 1000? Because I shoot a lot throughout the night. So if I wasn't at ISO 1000, I would, my flash would probably die within an hour. I feel like you have to be at ISO 1000 to give, because that's gonna cut off enough ambient, but also allow the flash to not be at the highest power. And also I'm at 2.8. So that means that the flash here, it's pretty low. So that's gonna allow me to do two things. One, to shoot fast, and to shoot throughout the night and not worry about my battery. So sometimes when you're shooting with ISO, let's say, even when I go as low as 640, after like, 20 minutes, like if I'm shooting nonstop, because it can happen, the flash will start to slow down. So that's why I decided to just stay at 1,000. And then what I usually do is I usually play with the shutter speed, depending on the background. So let's jump to another image. So this is actually the same location, but without the Christmas lights. And let's see. Oh, so here I'm actually even more open because I'm using a different lens. So I actually went from 180 on this one to 160, and then now I went to 1.8 from 2.8. So as you can see, the flash is holding up, but you can kind of see also on the girl's face some of the ambient creeping in a little bit. So I'm not a fan of that. But it's very minimal. Now again, I usually would shoot a little darker, but in this case, I actually like the mirrors, so I kind of wanted to keep it a little open. Let's see. Let's jump to actually a darker one. Hold on. Let's talk about this one. So this one is actually okay. So look, this perfect example right here. It's ISO 640. So let's compare it to, let's say, this one right here. All right. So big difference. Now, you could argue that the picture on the left, this one, was shot in a different spot that maybe doesn't have as much ambient, but that's actually false because these are all buildings right here, and you could barely see any of the lights from the apartments. This is a hotel right here, so this is a huge hotel lobby, so you don't even see that. So I think I went a little bit overboard. I think I went a little darker. So you can see that I'm not, this picture is not that great because I feel like it's too dark. But again, some people might like it that dark. So that would be the difference between your ISO and your shutter. So it's huge. All right, now let's talk about this picture right here. So this picture was pretty standard settings actually. You can see ISO 1000, shutter 100, and 2.8. Again, I'm always at the widest, at the most open. But now on this one, you can see that she's being hit by this red light. I'm not a fan of that. I obviously moved her out of that spot, but I wanted to show you guys how also you have to be careful, because on this case, if I decided to keep her here, I probably would have gone down to ISO at least 800, shutter 125, and that alone would have given me probably enough cutoff from this light. And then maybe what I would have done is I would have gone on my flash, on the external flash, and actually go maybe +3. So that's another thing that I can mention, but I'm not gonna touch into it because I'm not really an expert on external speed lights. But going +3 or maybe sometimes -3, that's also that's gonna be dictated by the environment. But most of the time, you can see her face is a little bright, so my flash was probably +3. Let's see if it says here. No, it doesn't say. Yeah, I was probably here +3. Here I was probably normal. Let's see. Let's talk about this one. All right, so ISO 1000, 100. Okay, so these are pretty much my standard settings. ISO 1000, shutter between 100 and 80. Those would be some of my, that would be like my go-to spots. I only go to 125 when I want to make it very, very dark. And in this case, I'm at 1.8 and she's perfectly exposed. I think I was probably on 0 on the flash, on the external flash. I don't see, I don't think I was +3. Maybe I would have been +3 because of this white, but there's enough black on the picture, and also her skin looks good, so I think it was definitely 0 on the flash. Let's go to another one. Okay, so this one is okay, same thing. ISO 1000. I think that's pretty much my standard in most scenarios. And again, depending on how much ambient I want, I play with shutter, 1/80th or 100th, and then again, I'm always wide open. Okay, now let's jump to the last picture I'm gonna talk about. Okay, so this is indoors. Okay, so here I'm trying to get the red from the thing in the back. So I went to ISO 1600 and I opened up on shutter as well, 1/50th. And that allowed me to, okay, so the reason why I opened up so much is because this place, this area in this restaurant, it's very, very dark. I mean, I know it looks bright here, but it's really not. That's why I had to open up with all these settings. And I was probably +3 because you can see, she's a little brighter on the face. On this last one, I was thinking I was +3, but I think it was probably 0 because she looks overall just even. But the way the flash works, like you can't really tell. There's no setting. Sometimes you think it's 0 and then you shoot the picture and they come out super dark. So I would say I usually start my night +3, and then depending on the girl, I probably go on, or what they're wearing. If they're wearing white, like the camera's gonna see it as it's gonna have to expose for it. So the camera will usually tell the flash to go a little darker. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about these overall. There's really no setting. It's just about playing around. Literally just about playing around. You have to go out there and shoot and see what works for you. But if you want to get that ambient light, you have to be at ISO 1000. I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't do or don't know what to do. I think I think most people assume they want to be at ISO 500 or something, but you shouldn't be. You should be at ISO 1000 or 1200 even, and then again, depending on your ambient light, that's gonna dictate basically anything you do. I hope you found this video helpful. I know it's pretty technical. You kind of have to know how to use a flash and how to use your camera. I know this was a little technical, and you definitely need to be shooting on manual. There's no way you can shoot this on auto. And also, really getting to know your flash is just as important.